hopefully you can see there, I'm pulling hard, second, third, and now up into fourth, right? So, if you've been following my other videos, the onboard videos, you'll probably be aware that I've been suffering with a hard start problem. It's been taking sort of 4 or 5 bumps to get this old girl going. And you know, obviously I did try a lot of different things, and I'm pondering if any of you are into reading. Maybe you've read Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, maybe not, but I would advise you to read it. I'm not a reader. I read this book back when I was given it as a birthday present from my brother, I think because I felt a bit obliged, as it was a birthday present. And oh Jesus, I didn't think it'd be very interesting. I thought, oh, this is going to be all about maintenance. It's not at all really, but anyway, in that I've got a sneaking suspicion that maybe he discusses this out. Whilst I was in there, I put a load of grease in the thrust, the clutch thrust bearing, and sadly it's the old style one. It's got ball bearings rather than the new style, which is rollers, you know. So but the flat, I didn't really have a look to see the other side of the ball bearings so much, but the flat plate of metal that runs against those ball bearings was mint. It had no like groove on around it. It was just nice and flat and smooth. But like I said, the bike was unused for 60 years, so yeah, I think it was probably going to be in reasonable condition, a lot of the stuff, including the clutch. But yeah, the clutch, the friction pads do look a bit, you know, dodgy if you like, but like I said, missing a whole plate is obviously going to be an issue, isn't it? So that's that then, I think, hopefully, and hopefully I won't be having to go on more exploration rides of what's going on with my bike. So what else was I going to mention? I've fucking lost the plot there. It's one of those things where you're on a float and you've lost it. Fuck me, I can't remember now. Anyway, so yeah, I put some grease also on like the output sort of shaft, if you like, because I've got this feeling that when you're at a standstill or you pull the clutch lever in and you're flipping the throttle or whatever, I've got a feeling that perhaps the sort of thing is rotating. Although there's a sleeve in there, like a distance piece, there's no sort of like bearing between the distance piece and the output shaft, so that's obviously spinning around. But I suppose at one stage of the game, whether it's when the clutch is engaged or disengaged, that should be rotating with it, but then there's another stage where that would be stationary. Oh yeah, she's going alright, I think, regarding the clutch. But like I said, I might need to do further adjustments. You know, you just don't know. One big difference will be perhaps how much of a bubber it is to change from first to second. So I was having a lot of problems changing from first to second. Yeah, so if that's a bit smoother, which I don't think it's actually perfect at the moment, it was a case of I had to be really revving it to the max to get it to shift, or the revs would drop right down to basically doing nothing. So yeah, right, okay, we can have a go up here, I think. Fucking some lady up behind me. Right, so on to the next subject. Fucking ethanol, fuel, E5. So this bike I'm on, I've been able to get for a Meso the premium synergy stuff, I think it's called, 99 octane or RON, whatever it is, which was ethanol free up until September. The pump said E5, but it was ethanol free. So anyway, yeah, they changed their mind on all that, and they're going for it will be actually E5. So that's a disaster for me, because I'm really concerned about the brass. My entire carb is brass, I think, this amount, 10T carb. And obviously your jets are brass anyway, regardless. So yeah, I'm worried about them getting deteriorated by the ethanol. And also the ethanol attracting water, and then that causing rust in the tank. So yeah, let's have your thoughts on that, guys. That's the engagement point of today. I know I've been rambling on about the clutch for ages, but the engagement part is fuel, petrol, E5. What are we doing about it? So I'm lucky that I live close enough to somewhere I can go and pick up some proper fuel. They make race fuel and they supply it to like Goodwood, Revival and stuff like that. So I can actually get leaded fuel with no ethanol in it, and I can get 101 octane or I can get 110. Now I'm not going for the 110 because I believe that potentially I might have to reject the bike or do something, which I'm not interested in that. But I'll go for the 101, I think. The only issue is very, very expensive. So we're talking, depending on what obviously octane you go for, but we're talking, you know, £4.20, £4.50, maybe even £5 a litre. So it's expensive stuff, and they do it unleaded as well. You can get it unleaded. They do, I think they do some sort of diesel stuff and this and that. But yeah, they're a proper like race fuel, you know, place that make their own fuel as far as I can gather. So there's no additives in it, you know, it's real good stuff. And a good friend of mine, well I say that, I've not met him yet, but he's advised me on this bike a bit and on my KNS restoration. So he said when he was racing his KTTs, he'd get a gallon tin, gallon can, chuck 1 litre of the, he said, I think he had avgas, I suppose aviation fuel, but you know, whatever it is, but the stuff I'm getting hold of, you know, the pure sort of stuff. So he chucks 1 litre of that in there, and then he fills up the rest of it with normal E5. And he said he hasn't had a problem, so I think that's potentially the way forward. Yeah, and then obviously we got to discuss about the options of additives. So the far cheaper option is to buy one of these bottles. I think it's Briggs and Stratton, Miller's or something like that, Morris or Miller's, I think it's Miller's do one. Just trying to think what else really, but yeah, so anyway, so there's that additive option. Now my only issue with the additive is that it doesn't actually remove the ethanol, but apparently it counteracts the negative effects of ethanol. So what do we think on that, guys? Is it effective or not? Because like I say, like a 20 quid, you know, maximum £20 for a bottle of that, they'll probably treat at least 20 fuel tanks of, you know, fuel, and that's obviously a far cheaper way to go. So yeah, obviously I've been watching the videos where people shake it up with water. They've got normal E5 or E10, I don't know, I suppose, whatever's cheaper. I suppose you go for the E5 because it's higher octane, because this method reduces octane. But yeah, you shake it up with water, you invert the container, and then you drain off the water, and you can see it clearly separated. And some people add food dye just to make it even more obvious. And then you drain that off, and that's definitely, it does remove ethanol or something from the petrol, because when you watch the guy, he measures how much water he puts into the bottle of fuel. He always pulls out more after he's shaken it up and done that thing. So it tells you that, like I say, they're removing more fluid than what they put in. So yeah, I think that does remove the ethanol. And then they're saying that after you've done that, there's some other sort of additive you're supposed to use, or you can use, just to remove every single trace of water. Because obviously we're trying, the whole point of getting rid of this ethanol is to get rid of water, so it does seem insane to add water. So yeah, you can use that extra additive to reduce any remnants of water, and also you can then add an octane booster additive, because they say that you do reduce the octane by doing that method. So I haven't tried that one, a bit sort of dubious about it all, but it seems to make sense. Like, it seems to be logically or scientifically an okay thing. So yeah, so let's, like I say, that's what I'd like you guys to leave comments about, is how you're tackling this, because it's very new. It's only literally this September that we've got this issue of not being able to buy at the pump ethanol free fuel, which I'm pretty outraged about, to be perfectly honest with you. And a mate of mine's actually emailed Esso to say, you know, look, can't you actually keep it? So they're like, sorry, no. And I can't remember what excuse they gave. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Back on board the KTT.